This is a PlayStation exclusive masterpiece that defines what PlayStation 5 can do. When you think of PlayStation 5 in the future, you will think of Spider-Man 2. And with great power comes great responsibility, and Insomniac knows this and have delivered on this 100%. It has everything perfectly in place. All of the characters have a story arc and a story to tell, with all of the references there and the Easter eggs right up to the very end of the game. It's amazing. It is spectacular. Let's get in to the review. From comics to animations to movies and video games across console generations. But in the hands of Sony and Insomniac, Spider-Man is at his very best. It's a love letter to all superhero fans, but more importantly, a love letter to Spidey fans and the Marvel Universe. It all led to this, and boy, did it deliver. It's fast, fluid, and so seamless. And then when you've completed about 80% of the main story, oh my god, what happens towards the end of the game? This is the reason to buy a PlayStation 5 if you haven't already, because this game is insanely epic. It doesn't have the wow factor that the 2018 Spider-Man game had, but coming back to this game and playing as Spider-Man all over again, all of that nostalgia, all of those feelings of playing the original game rushing back, and it's just heightened. It's better, and it feels like, honestly, I'm coming home again, because we have been there and done that before. But it does have a lot of moments and story beats that will make your jaw drop, and just all the beatdowns on enemies as well, as you combine your moves together, that will wow you. This is really happening. I am really doing this. Everything that's happening on screen, all of those moments will make your jaw drop in this game. The map is larger, with more combat mechanics, gameplay mechanics, more gadgets, more suits, and more upgrades, and an absolutely insane, epic, emotional storyline that will have you on the edge of your seat as Kraven tries to turn New York City into his own hunting ground, hunting down the heroes and villains of NYC. And then there's this. And when the symbiote takes over Peter and you get that black suit, the black suit looks incredible. But when the symbiote does take over, you get an instant sense of power. You feel it, and everything seems faster and stronger, and the beatdowns that you do on enemies and the moveset available, and just the brutality as well, as Peter starts to rapidly spiral out of control. In this game, you'll be playing as two Spider-Men to traverse around New York City as you swap between Peter and Miles, going through the city's districts as you 100% each of the districts by stopping crimes in progress, opening tech crates, collecting spider bots, as well as photo ops where you take a picture of something in the city, Mysteriums where you are against the time for gold, silver or bronze, prowler hideouts that will require you to do a mini game pushing L2 and R2, and this is where the haptic feedback comes into play, as well as missions that will have you chasing drones around the city as you chase these robotic birds by gliding in the slipstream to download the data successfully. Marco's Memories, which is destroy the sand crystals to unlock Marco's Memories, and then all of these will end with a story mission to finish off those activities that you are doing, as well as hunter hideouts to find as well. With 14 districts, and each district having its own set of activities and objectives in those areas to complete, with personal requests from the citizens of the city being alerted via your app, or just as you swing around the city, a crime in progress will appear, or a side activity will appear where someone needs help or has a request for you to aid them. Between the main missions, you will likely find yourself exploring the city, collecting everything, getting sidetracked to collect more stuff. All will progress you to fully completing districts as you go, with side activities around the city being more or less the same as the first game, just with a different coat of paint on them. You'll be rewarded with tokens and tech parts for finishing missions that can be used on upgrades for your tech and abilities, and also XP to level up as you work towards unlocking every upgrade and leveling up to max level, with 3 skill trees, one for Peter and one for Miles, and one shared skill tree between them both. Both characters, depending on whether you are playing as Miles or Peter, will have their own individual movements and gadgets and storylines, where some missions you will automatically have to swap to the other Spider-Man because it's only a mission for this Spider-Man, or this mission or this activity can only be done with Miles, while this one can only be done with Peter. You don't just control Peter, Miles and MJ. There is other characters that you control as well. As you go about stopping random crimes and progress, sometimes the other Spider-Man will already be there or join you midway through the fight, and stuff like that just blows your mind. You go to stop a crime in progress, then all of a sudden Miles or Peter will turn up and aid you in that fight before swinging off and doing their own thing. Some of the puzzles in this game suck. They are boring and tedious, just as much as they were in the first game. But they aren't too difficult to solve. These puzzles are just more tedious than anything else, and it just takes you out of the flow of the overall game. Now, the graphics and facial expressions in this game, while I do love the graphics in the world and the set pieces and everything, is incredible. It's absolutely amazing, in fact. And just the ray tracing as well, and seeing all the shadows and the lighting as you swing around the city in the sun beaming down from the skyscrapers. It's incredible. But the facial expressions in this game, I mean, I get it, they've aged quite a bit since the first game, but in moments the character models just don't look right, but in other moments, under the right lighting, they look perfect, and I do not have a problem with them. I like the character models, I like it, but at the same time, I don't, and I really can't pinpoint what it is about it, especially MJ, and I'm sorry to target just MJ here. Inside of buildings as well, there is NPCs just going about their day, and they're not just empty blocks, they're not just empty buildings like they were in Spider-Man 2018. You can actually see inside the buildings at people living there, birds flying by, or hearing cars in rush hour traffic, to the citizens of the city just having conversations and going about their day. This world is alive and well. From the new boroughs to Brooklyn and Queens, and just all of the locations there and the set pieces is phenomenal. It has been done so incredibly well, to all of the small details as well. It's a bigger city. It is a much larger city. Which then takes me to surfing in water and the wingsuit. You can swim in this game, which you couldn't do in the original game. The wingsuit isn't a means of web swinging replacement, but more of an add-on to the web swinging, merging both together to pull off some amazing acrobatics across the city. It's still much faster web swinging. It can be like poetry in motion if you master it, with much faster web swinging with both Peter and Miles, as you slowly build up a jump into a web swing or a catapult before you soar off into the air with perfectly timed swings, flips, jumps and dives, with a bunch of new and exciting abilities and gadgets at your disposal, with skills to unlock that will make you traverse the map a lot faster, to then upgrading combat abilities that will increase your moveset and gadgets in combat. Peter has his own skills and so does Miles, as well as suit tech to upgrade from health, damage, focus and traversal, with numerous suits to craft, some with their own styles that you can choose from as well. Some returning suits from the first game and some suits that haven't made a return. I mean, I'll always pick Tobey's Spider-Man costume as soon as I unlock that as my main suit, and suits unlock pretty much rapidly as well, so you can have a toy with them and choose what suit is right for you with their own colour schemes and styles. Now, combat mechanics. While they do feel the same with new toys to play with, there's the new addition of a parry mechanic. But if I'm honest, I've rarely used this, only when I'm up against big bosses and you need to time it right, and if you do time it right, it can be incredibly useful. Now, the flow of combat in Spider-Man has always been a perfectly timed dance routine, with attacks, time dodges, to then a finishing move or an air kick to send that foe into the air for a beatdown, with punches connecting with a satisfying impact as you pull off amazingly satisfying large combos, zipping from one enemy to another, chaining it all together as you build up your focus to deliver a final takedown or heal yourself if needs be, with a constant flow of web attacks, uppercut jumps, dodges, objects to web up and use as devastating lethal weapons, with sections that will have you in stealth as you sneak around above enemies, webbing them up with silent perch takedowns, web takedowns, or just causing a distraction by pulling down something in the environment to alert them or separate enemies from the herd, with the newly added web lines that give you so much more freedom for these stealth segments. Occasionally in the game you'll be playing as MJ as well, just like in the first game with the stealth missions, but in this game MJ isn't as useless as she was in the first game. She can actually fight back. This time round, if the guards do spot you, if they do find you, or if they are alerted to your area and you need to wait until they walk away, in this game it's not an instant field. You can fight back. You can sneak attack up on enemies. MJ has a much better playstyle in Spider-Man 2. But all in all though, with a deep, epic storyline filled with emotions, loneliness and the struggles of balancing being a superhero with your personal life and college life, epic boss battles returning, and new foes from the Spider-Man universe, Kraven and Venom, this game is definitely one for the record books. This is no doubt about it my absolute game of the year, 110%. No question about it. This game is what defines PlayStation. This game is what defines owning a PlayStation 5 is all about. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you for making me a part of your day and checking out my videos. Thank you. Anyways guys, I'll see you next time.